So, the most dangerous combat sport in the world, American politics. And today we're going to be talking about, once again, American politics along with boxing. There's some boxing news that I want to talk about, mainly about that pound fighter named Devontae Tank Davis. It appears that Devontae is having a little bit of problems again with another domestic issue. I just don't know how. Listen, Devontae got a problem with women. Somebody need to tell Devontae, stay away from those women, bro. You know what I mean? Because Devontae always had a problem with these ladies. You know, he seems to be he kind of grabs them the back of their head by the throat. He has a propensity to do these kind of things. And so we'll be talking about Devontae. We're gonna start off with Devontae, and then we're gonna be talking about the situation. There's still some unrest with these ICE agents in Minneapolis. Not only that, there's a spillover. I believe it was in Oregon. Was it Washington? Anyway, we'll talk about that. It's one of those. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We got receipts, so we'll get to that. We'll talk about that. But yeah, so yeah, we're gonna be talking about this thing. There was some talk, and it was let me see, Speaker Jeffries, the Democratic Speaker of the House, spoke today, and he was quite emphatic and made strong implications. I mean, that, like, listen, he had some strong implications that there's going to be some heads rolling in the Trump regime. He made it very clear, unequivocally, if you ask me, because the way he was talking. Now, we don't have receipts, but maybe I'll get to that footage when he was talking. He spoke about the footage about 20 minutes long, and I may get to some of that a little bit later in the show. But yeah, he was definitely emphatic about there was going to be a big price to pay as to what is going on in the country today. So yeah, he was very emphatic about that. But yeah, there's still some things going on. Like I said, with this ICE going on, and they're still going on a tear. But what we're going to do is we're going to get to Devontae Tank Davis, and then we'll get on to the ICE situation and see if we can get some footage up, some receipts on what Speaker Jeffries said today, because it was quite interesting. And there's also some talk, because I've been doing my research. There's a certain rumor that our president might be having some very, very concerning health issues. And some people think that he's not going to live past his term as president. And there's a lot of traction about that. And so I haven't did my research. I'm going to look into that and see exactly what is going on with that. But there's some sources, I would say, I would venture to say they're kind of reliable sources, that say that our president, Donald J. Trump, is having some issues health-wise. And yeah, that's concerning to those who are on the Trump agenda. And but that may be concerning those who are capitulating as well. They can stop capitulating. What we do know is that there's still J.D. Vance that will be, if something happened to our President Donald Trump, our Vice President, J.D. Vance will be the president. So he was speaking not too long ago, or was it yesterday, whenever he had a press conference about Somalis have to be careful. It's like coming after you all next. So I'm not exactly sure what he was talking about, but he was definitely talking about Somalis. I'm not sure what part of the country this is, going down at, but he definitely was speaking on some knowledge. So okay, so let's get to this Javante Tank Davis. Yeah, also there's a big fight coming up with the at the end of the month here. We're gonna have the Teofimo Lopez versus the Slick. You know what? I should say he would probably be a pound for pound fighter if he beats Teofimo, which would be Shakur Stevenson. We're going to be fighting for Teofimo's 140-pound junior welterweight championship of the world at 140 pounds. I think that's the WBO. I think that's what it is. What's the WBC? I'll have to check that out too. But anyway, it's going to be for Teofimo's championship. But let's get to our friend Tank Davis and see what he's talking about. Oh, it's not Tank. This is not Tank right here. Let's see where Tank at. Tank is that's not Tank either. Okay, here we go. We got Tank. I got Tank. We're gonna get to that in a minute. But I got Tank right here. Tank is coming up right here. Here's Tank. Tank, where you at, Tank? Right here. So yeah. Hold on a second here. Here we go. We got him now. All right, so this is old Tank here. Tank, let's see what's going on with our Tank is a heck of a fighter. But it says right here, it says police manhunt underway for Javante Davis following domestic violence warrant. Now it says manhunt, and so he must be on the run. Let's see what's going on with old Tank here. It says Alexander Behunin, and this was written Wednesday, January the 14th, 2026. Yesterday, it says 2-minute read. So here we go. An arrest warrant has been issued for WBA lightweight champion Javante Davis stemming from an alleged domestic violence incident that occurred in October, according to ESPN. Miami Gardens police confirmed Wednesday that Davis is wanted on multiple charges, including false imprisonment, battery, and attempted kidnapping, following an investigation into an incident at a Miami Gardens Gentlemen's Club on October 27th. At this time, this is quote now, at this time, the Miami Gardens Police Department is actively working with the United States Marshals Fugitive Task Force to locate and apprehend Mr. Davis. Unquote. MGPD Executive Officer Emmanuel Genti said during a news conference, quote, domestic violence is a serious crime, and the Miami Gardens Police Department remains committed to holding offenders accountable and protecting victims, unquote. According to police and court documents obtained by ESPN, the alleged incident involved Davis' ex-girlfriend, Courtney Russell, who worked at the club as a VIP cocktail server. Russell filed a civil lawsuit days after the incident, claiming Davis entered the club and attacked her in a back room that lacked surveillance cameras. The lawsuit alleges Davis grabbed Russell by the back of her head and throat before forcibly dragging her through several areas of the building, including a stairwell and kitchen, and out to a parking lot where the alleged assault continued. Russell was eventually released to her co-workers and reportedly suffered bruising on her left arm. Police said surveillance footage from other areas of the club supported Russell's account of events. Quote, the investigation determined that Mr. Davis used force to restrain the victim in an attempt to remove her from the location against her will, unquote, Genti said. Russell reportedly told investigators she had known Davis since 2022 and was in a brief, intimate relationship with the boxer that ended roughly 1 month before the incident. Authorities said she had blocked all communication with Davis following the breakup. The lawsuit was filed just weeks before Davis was scheduled to face Jake Paul in a high-profile boxing match at Casaya Center in Miami. Davis was later removed from the bout, and Paul instead facing Anthony Joshua in December. Quote, Tank, unquote, is no stranger to legal trouble as the 30-year-old champion was arrested in Miami Beach on a domestic violence battery charge stemming from a June 17 incident, charges that were later dropped after the alleged victim declined to prosecute. He was also arrested and jailed on a charge of battery and domestic violence in 2022. All right, so that's what it says here on Tank Davis. So Tank is Tank, come on, Tank, come on, Tank, come on, Tank. Tank is Tank is gonna have to get himself together. That's what Tank gonna have to do. Tank, come on, Tank, come on, Tank, come on back, Tank. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna have to say out a prayer for Mr. Tank Davis. Hopefully he'll get himself together because he's one of your better boxers, especially one of the more exciting boxers. And you'll have to rein in his he needs some counseling, of course, obviously. He needs some kind of counseling. He needs to address those issues because it can be very detrimental. I mean, outside, listen, inside and outside the boxing ring. I mean, he obviously needs to get some self-reflection, and someone needs to tell him that he needs to work on himself, embrace himself. You know what I mean? And that's, I think, what he needs to do. And as long as he starts doing that, I think he got a chance to get back. And so yeah, so we have to pray for old Tank Davis, and hopefully, he's on the run. So that's not good. He's on the run right now. So hopefully he'll eventually turn himself in and get away from the situation, or address this situation, I should say. It's sad when people have a tendency to do that. So anyway, so yeah, let's get to the political portion of the show. Once again, we have some things going on with the ICE, and so we're going to play a clip of what's happening with the latest on the ICE situation. Now, there was some situation, that occurred as early as last night. So we're going to go to that. Let's watch this.
We are getting some news from the city of Minneapolis and from Fox's Bill Malugin. Let's start with the city. They say, we are aware of reports of a shooting involving federal law enforcement in North Minneapolis. We're working to confirm additional details. There have been reports of another ICE-involved shooting. Fox's Bill Malugin with a little more context. I'm told by 4 law enforcement sources there has been another ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis tonight. I'm told ICE was making contact with a target who then allegedly assaulted an officer with a shovel or swung a shovel. Shots were fired, and the suspect ran back to ICE. We are getting some news from the city of Minneapolis and from Fox's Bill Malugin. Let's start with the city. They say, we are aware of reports of a shooting involving federal law enforcement in North Minneapolis. We're working to confirm additional details. There have been reports of another ICE-involved shooting. Fox's Bill Malugin with a little more context. I'm told by 4 law enforcement sources there has been another ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis tonight. I'm told ICE was making contact with a target who then allegedly assaulted an officer with a shovel or swung a shovel. Shots were fired, and the suspect ran back to a house. No info yet on if anyone was actually shot, just that shots were fired. Very preliminary information, more as we get it. He continues, I'm now told that a suspect, believed to be Venezuelan, was indeed shot, but is okay, stable, and is now in custody. So, these live images are from the scene of where this took place, and it does in fact appear that there's protesters. I just saw a firework. I've got 4 different vantage points of this area, by the way. You know what, let's pull up the audio on this one. Looks like things are getting a little more active on this camera. Unclear to me if this is in the exact area or how close this protest is to the area where that shooting or that shots fired incident took place. Clearly, this group of protesters advancing forward, screaming F ICE. And as we hear of another shooting taking place in the Twin Cities, this is certainly going to serve potentially another firework going off. Governor Tim Walz, earlier this evening, about an hour and a half ago, making an address to Minnesotans. He said he had 4 messages for Minnesotans amid these tense times. The governor saying President Trump wants this chaos and confusion on the streets. And he also said protesters need to be peaceful. It did appear to me like they were throwing some snow at those officers. And that's something that we've been seeing for days now as these demonstrations continue in Minneapolis. In some cases, ICE has been thrown at immigration officials. Another firework going off. Sometimes the police will throw flashbangs, by the way, in an effort to disperse unlawful assemblies. Okay, looks like some of those, and that might have been a flashbang right there, actually. I just saw some of those demonstrators running away. And so seeing right now a lot of what we've been seeing in recent days, these protesters telling ICE to get out of their city. Mayor Jacob Fry has told them to get out of their city. Governor Walz today telling, oh yeah, and it's curious to me, I'm curious if...
You okay? Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, so it sounds like, I'll turn the audio down. It sounds like the television crew that's filming this might have been exposed to the elements there. Unsure what exactly that smoke is made of. But certainly a crowd dispersal tactic we just saw on live television. Seems like things are cooling down for a moment on this camera. Let's move back to our other vantage point. This is the scene where that other officer-involved shooting took place earlier this evening. And again, I'll read you what Bill Malugin has. So far, Malugin says that he's told by 4 law enforcement sources that there's been another ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis tonight. He's told that ICE was making contact with a target who then allegedly assaulted an officer with a shovel or swung a shovel. Shots were fired, and then the suspect ran back to a house. Okay, it looks like this camera's running away. I'm not exactly sure what they're running from or what they're running toward, if anything. Putting the camera down, possibly. There is no audio coming through on this camera, just to be clear. Okay, now we got some.
Close your windows! Towels under the doors!
Sounds like tear gas.
Right here on this corner.
So yeah, that's going to make everybody run away as quickly as possible. A number of our crews have been exposed to the tear gas in recent days.
Emily!
It looks like the crowd is more able. But it's not the ball we got.
Not uncommon, you see protesters carrying milk with them for these moments. Looks like one of those officers feeling some sting in the eyes after that tear gas was deployed.
Did it make you feel?
We're going to take a look at the ex-governor, Jesse Ventura. He obviously has something to say. This is Jesse Ventura. I don't know if you all remember him, but he was the governor of Minnesota. And he has some very candid remarks to say about Donald Trump. And I haven't seen him in a while, so, but I guess they been tracking him down and he was able to give some comments. So, here's a mission. This guy said that the United States is now a third world country. This is what Jesse Ventura is saying. He is saying that our country is a third world country. And he gives an explanation why he says that. Yeah, we got to say our country is now being as a third. We were the most, arguably the most powerful country in the world. And now, with all this chaos and confusion, the United States now, as far as Jesse Ventura is concerned, is a third world country. And he gives an explanation why he says that. Let's go to Jesse, see what he got to say. I haven't seen Jesse in a while. I mean, I was so shocked that he was still, well, he said he hasn't been around, and he says reason why. So let's go to the clip here.
Chris, did it make you feel better to have that conversation, or what would you say?
No, I'm just saying, as a graduate of Roosevelt High School and as the former governor of Minnesota, I'm so proud of Roosevelt High School and how they stood up for what is supposed to be America and freedom. And freedom is not arresting people without warrants. We have a system here. It's called a Constitution. And we have a party, the Republicans, who don't seem to want to abide by the Constitution. January 6th is a prime example of that. And now they're all free and they're in charge. You know what? Maybe it's time for Jesse. I only did one term. I'm owed a second.
Mr. Ventura, can you remind us, you went to school here?
I went to school here. I'm a 1969 graduate of Minneapolis Roosevelt. I'm proud of them for what they did. They made me proud as an alumni. Go Teddies.
What are your thoughts? I know we're jumping in, probably doubling up on some of his questions, but what are some of your thoughts about what unfolded yesterday, and then after that, what you saw?
Well, I've told you already. We're a country of the Constitution. We have leadership now that has destroyed the Constitution. They don't follow it. They could care less about it. Am I right or wrong? I took an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I view after January 6th, the Republican Party as a domestic enemy to our Constitution. I can't get any bolder than that, can I?
And you obviously saw the video that the students shot outside here, and that obviously elicited a lot of emotions for you. Just watching
What do you mean
that,
the student shot?
there were some
outside?
students that shot the video of the chaos here yesterday. It was
No, I
nice.
didn't even
Oh,
see
you didn't
it.
see it? Okay, I thought
I
you
didn't
did.
see it.
Okay, okay.
The only thing I've seen is the murder.
So talk about, you were a student here. When did you graduate? In
1969.
Have you been back here? Talk about that. Is this like first time back?
No. Came back to homecoming 2 years ago. No. I'm a proud graduate. I held 3 school records in swimming, 2 District 17 records. Our football team was undefeated. We won. Back then there were no playoffs. We played St. Paul Central for the Twin City Championship and defeated them, I think it was 21-6. And we did that at the old brick house, if you remember that, the old University of Minnesota. That's where they used to play the Twin City Championship game. There weren't playoffs then.
Dave Winfield was on that Central team, wasn't he?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. We beat Dave Winfield in Central.
Just to be abundantly clear about what you're doing, what you wanted to do at the school here today.
I just came here today to show my support as a graduate of Roosevelt and tell them how proud I was of what they did of keeping ICE off of this campus. This is a place of learning, and you learn things like the Constitution. You learn about warrants. You learn about things of that nature, and what we're getting right now is violating all that, what kids are being taught. You want to know something? I'll give you a quote. We're a third world country now. You want to know why? I'm an expert. I've been to them. I spent 17 months in Southeast Asia while the draft dodger was playing golf, right? You know how I know we're a third world country? Because in third world countries, they have the military doing their police work in the cities when you walk around. I was in the Philippines the day Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law and went under dictatorship. We went from nobody to a guy with a machine gun on every corner. That's what happens in a dictatorship. In comes the military. That's what's happening here. And people better wake up to it. You want to read something? Then read your history of Germany and start comparing the tactics of what happened in 1930s Germany to what's happening here. Read history. You learn from history. And this is nothing new. This is all repeated. This is a game plan, it looks like to me, of what's going on here. How dare Minnesota, we'll take care of ourselves. We don't need federal troops coming in here without warrants.
Some people have said this undermines local law enforcement.
It undermines the entire Constitution. The military cannot be turned loose unless it's a national emergency. They're going to tell me this is a national emergency?
Message for Trump or message for Governor Walz?
Who was that? You mean the draft-dodging coward? I don't call him by name. He's the draft-dodging coward who, when it was his time to serve his country, he did what all rich white boys did. I wasn't a rich white boy. I grew up in South Minneapolis. Most of me and all my friends are Vietnam veterans. We had to go. But the rich white boys never had to go, did they? And he didn't have to go, did he? And yet he's going to tell me what courage is?
Are you supporting Governor Walz and Mayor Fry the way they've been outspoken towards?
Absolutely. Good for them and good for these people that stood up. They're teaching their students something, that we are a country, that we have to be a country of law and a country of the Constitution. They're all forgetting about the Constitution of the United States of America. We don't even have it anymore. After January 6th, are you kidding me? And then they all get turned loose, and now they're in charge? I gave up on this country when this guy I haven't even watched the news since last November. I stumbled onto this, and now look what you've done to me.
Well, thank you for stopping. I appreciate it.
Here I was leading a nice, quiet life, and now you've injected me back in here, and probably going to make me the governor of Minnesota again.
And you seem fired up and motivated.
Because somebody needs to clean up what the Democrats and Republicans constantly wreck. And you notice I lump them together. I should use my old name for them. The Democrats and the Republicans which my apologies to the Crips and Bloods for using their name in that way.
And Governor, would you like to say anything about yesterday, what happened, a tragic situation?
Yeah, that's
Any time you have the loss of life that needlessly happens, that's tragedy. And what occurred yesterday did not have to happen. There is no way. I've seen the tape of it, and who is this, the governor of South Dakota? Has she ever met a person of color? Do they have any in South Dakota?
good. Thank you for stopping.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
Thank
You know what I'm talking about on that, right?
All right, that was the former governor of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura. I had a lot to say, and like I said, he said that the United States is a third world country because, in his words, he said he was in South, I guess, Philippines. I guess he said he was in the Philippines at the time. He did a 17-month tour. And he's seen the military come through, just like they're doing right now here in the United States. And of course, he fashions that into what happened in Germany. So the playbook is obviously something that Donald Trump likes to read about Hitler. So the playbook has been set. And so you have to see what happens if they're able to pull it off. But the point is that if the playbook, they know the playbook because of history, they should know how to stop it. Someone should know how to stop it and what it's going to take to stop it from the democracy perspective. From the democracy perspective, how they're going to stop this regime from trying to do what it's going to do. But Jeffries spoke. And he was pretty emphatic that there was going to be some heads that's going to roll. Obviously, they know some things that we don't know. And we know, and they know that's how it's going to come down the pike and when it's going to hit, how it's going to hit. And like I said, there were some reports that our President Donald J. Trump is not doing too good physically right now. There's some reports that he's not doing well at all. And there is a certain content creator that is very emphatic about he doesn't think our president is going to be living very much longer. Says he doesn't want him to die. But that's in his words, that's what he says. And so there's some talk about Donald Trump perhaps not being able to live past the reign. Well, I don't know how long. He got the best medical stuff. But they say, guess what they say about Donald Trump? They said Donald Trump is still eating McDonald's. Eats filet fish sandwiches and what was that, a Big Mac, I believe. And he's taking a bunch of aspirin, blood thinners. This is what I hear. Now, I don't know. I just have my sources of, from the internet, and you have the source to source, so I don't really know if that's how it's, but that's what I hear. That's why I hear that Donald Trump, based on a few sources, that Donald Trump is not doing too well physically, and that Donald Trump may not live very long. But they have a lot of things going on with the some impeachment probably, and so there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take a look at a few things now and see what some of these Democrats and what they got up their sleeve and how they're gonna try and get this situation under control. Let's see what the Dems got to say. They're doing a live. It's a live. Let's see what the Dems got to say.
Responsibility and an obligation. This says to me, Al Green, one member of Congress, I speak for no one except myself and anybody who agrees with me. It says to me that they are setting us up to prevent the officers or officer from being properly charged. And if he is charged and convicted, they're setting us up to understand that what happened here at the nation's capital, when it was encroached upon by hundreds of people, some say thousands, and afterwards, people were convicted, more than 1,500. And the President of the United States, immediately upon being put into office, decided that he would allow all of them to go free by way of his pen and an order. I believe the President is preparing us so that he can do exactly again what he did to those hundreds of people who performed an insurrection here on the Capitol. He is going to exonerate them by way of an executive order. I thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'm sorry if you think that I spoke.
Thank you so much. We now have Ms. Juliet Johnson, who's a last member of the committee and obviously a valued member of the committee from Texas.
I'm going to be really quick, not to summarize what everyone else has said. The bottom line is Kristi Noem executed an oath for this Constitution to uphold its laws. She's enabling her agency and organization to violate every aspect of due process, to violate the law and terrorize American citizens. The Committee on Homeland Security, the Homeland Dems, we intend to use every tool, every mechanism, every opportunity, every time to speak out, to condemn, to hold her accountable in every way possible within every tool we have in this Congress. Because the American people will not tolerate for its government to exercise rogue authoritarian dictatorship control and abuse and terrorize American citizens on the street of this country. You can't drive your car, drop your kid off to school, and get executed by your government in the United States of America, and that will not be tolerated. So we're here to tell you, to tell this country, to tell the world that we intend to do everything we can to hold her completely accountable, and she must go. Thank you so much.
Because they've called votes, we're going to have to shorten the question. The issue before us today is Homeland Dems have decided to move toward holding Kristi Noem accountable for the actions of the department. ICE, as well as FEMA and some other areas will be looked at. Nothing is off the table, but accountability is the key of what we're talking about. Yes. Nothing is off the table. It's accountability. We will be in Minneapolis this weekend, looking there. We plan to go to other areas. We want to talk to communities. We want to get a sense of what's happening more than what we are seeing on TV. So members, Democratic members, will be going all over the country, collecting data, testimony, and other things as to what's going on. And ultimately, that accountability will lead us to a decision. Some people, as you've heard, have already reached a decision, but from the standpoint of the committee as a whole, we're looking at accountability. And no one, including this administration, is above the law.
Congressman Thompson?
Yes.
Just a few hours earlier, one of your colleagues had a press conference announcing an impeachment resolution on Secretary Noem. Members in this press conference also said that they were going to reach that conclusion. Does that undermine your effort, which you say is going to be a process? You're not ready to jump to that conclusion.
Well, look, we have one resolution that has 50 names of members already on it. But I think the key is for those who have jurisdiction. We have decided that we want to move toward accountability. We'll be talking with the Judiciary Committee as well as Government Reform and Oversight to see whether or not this accountability can be moved forward.
Okay, so that's them talking. And we're gonna get back to that footage in a moment. But they're still having conversation about that. And let's go back and see what they're talking about here.
All we can do is move forward, elevate the issues so the public understand what's happening. As a nation of laws, we can't have people running around with masks on asking people for their citizenship. We are not a tin horn. People in cities and communities throughout our country are grieving, they are scared, they are angry. I'm here with my colleagues and we hear from them that Donald Trump's administration's actions have been hateful as well as harmful. Immediately after last week's shooting, Kristi Noem rushed to the nearest camera and spouted off a series of bold-faced lies. Her disgusting response set the stage for a brazenly political federal investigation that has excluded state and local officials and is clearly intended to shield the shooter from prosecution. Incredibly, the investigation has focused not on the shooter, but on the victim and her family. As a result, several federal prosecutors have resigned in protest. Kristi Noem has plainly tried to signal to ICE that they are free to act with impunity, to purposefully manufacture and escalate confrontations, and even execute whomever they please, and she will have their back. She has unleashed ICE and other federal law enforcement officers upon American communities, not to protect them, but to attack them and to sow fear, violence, and chaos. We cannot and we will not tolerate this violence against our communities. The killing of Miss Good must be independently investigated to those responsible, from the agent who pulled the trigger to the president and secretary who deployed them. They must be held accountable. And we cannot stop there. Unfortunately, when it comes to Ms. Noem, this cruelty and disregard for the rule of law is part of a long pattern of behavior. This shooting did not happen in a vacuum. It is a tragic result of Noem's dangerous reign as secretary. Since taking office, Noem has established a corrupt culture at the Department of Homeland Security. She and her political allies conduct themselves as though they are above the law. She has wantonly enriched herself and her associates at taxpayers' expense. She has openly defied court orders, undermining the constitutional rule of law. She has used access to disaster funds to punish political foes, and she has obstructed congressional oversight. She has directed the indiscriminate deportation of thousands of people without due process, most of whom have no criminal record, including U.S. citizens, children, some with serious illnesses against the wishes of their parents. In short, Kristi Noem has repeatedly abused her power and violated her oath of office. This is why today we are announcing we will begin a process of accountability for Secretary Noem. This is not a remedy, but we pursue it aggressively. As a scholar put it, a last-ditch mechanism to address offenses against constitutional democracy by a single individual that cannot adequately address those ordinary channels of government. So it's accountability. We'll start the process looking at. We're not sure where it will go. but we'll follow it wherever it leads. Her conduct has gravely endangered the security of the United States, its people, and its institutions of government. Kristi Noem must be held accountable. So what we'll have now, we have a number of individuals who are here who will speak, and we'll have questions and answers after. I'm not sure. We have the representative from Minneapolis here, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who will speak, and we'll have other individuals after that. I'll yield to Congresswoman Omar.
Thank you, Ranking Member Thompson. Today, we are honoring the life and memory of Renee Nicole Good, a 37-year-old mother of three, a writer, and a poet. Renee's mother remembers her as one of the kindest people she's ever known. For anyone who knew her, says Renee spent her life caring for others, always putting their needs first. Her deep love for community drove her to stand up for her immigrant neighbors. She had just dropped off her 6-year-old son off at school and was serving as a legal observer when she was murdered by an ICE agent in South Minneapolis. ICE's reckless actions have taken a mother from 3 children, a partner from a wife, and inflicted unfathomable pain on our community. My deepest condolences go to Renee's family, friends, and anyone who loved her. We will not stop fighting until we achieve real justice and accountability. That must begin with impeaching Kristi Noem and ensuring no federal agent can act as a judge, jury, and executioner on our streets. It must also include full and transparent investigation and legal action against ICE. While we grieve, our community, as always, has shown up for one another with love. ICE officers have been struck by solidarity and care Minnesotans have shown for their neighbors. In the face of state-sanctioned violence, we have organized and protected each other. That is what Renee stood for. She died because she chose love and solidarity over fear, and we will make sure the world never forgets her name. Thank you, and with that, I call on Congressman Asbayat.
Is Grace here?
Yes. We'll have Congresswoman Grace Meng.
Thank you so much, Representative Omar, and thank you for Chairman Thompson for bringing us together. Hi, everyone. I'm Congresswoman Grace Meng, Chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, or CAPAC. Thank you so much to Representative Omar, Ranking Member Thompson, Ranking Member Raskin, CHC Chair Espaillat, and the members of Congress here today for your leadership. Renee Nicole Good was a mom. She was a wife. She was a poet, singer, and most importantly, she was a U.S. citizen. She had just dropped her 6-year-old child off at school before she was
deeply powered by AI. Filmora 15 understands.
Okay, so we're gonna get back to it in a second. We got about 10 more minutes before we close the show. But obviously they're going after Kristi Noem now. Kristi Noem is the target. So they impeach Kristi Noem, and they're going to make sure that they send a message to everybody that's thinking that they're above the law. So obviously they're going to start with Kristi Noem. Won't be surprised if Cass Patel is next. You know, the saying, you know, yeah. So this is what they seem to be approaching.
Streets. They are using force without restraint, and they continue to act with impunity. But they are not above the law. As members of Congress, we not have only a duty, but a moral obligation to ensure rogue federal agencies are held accountable. That's why we are demanding an immediate and independent investigation, including the release of all video footage from authorities. And we are calling on ICE to suspend operations in Minnesota to de-escalate this situation. I'll later be introducing a bill that would hold DHS law enforcement to the same standards that other local and federal law enforcement agents already follow when interacting with citizens. Justice means accountability, and let Renee Nicole Good's name be a call for accountability, not just in Minneapolis, but across our entire country. Next, I would like to call, is Julie here? Julie Johnson. Representative Lou Correa.
Lou. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to ask all of you, what happened? What the hell happened in this country? 911, cowardly attack on our country. Thousands of Americans died. So we created the Department of Homeland Security to protect Americans from terrorist attacks. A president gets elected promising to deport criminals undocumented. Big, beautiful bill. $160 billion plus to build this massive paramilitary machine. What happened? American citizens being arrested, being detained, being held for days until they can prove they're American citizens. American citizens with passports ignored, being detained. What's going on, people? It's not them, it's us. Armed paramilitary force massed in our streets, arresting our friends and neighbors. Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, have essentially ignored the Constitution. They have ignored Congress. They've obstructed our ability to conduct oversight. They cherry pick what federal court decisions to follow and which ones to not. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a serious moment for our country. Homeland security to defend us against foreign terrorists. We are not terrorists. If we choose to exert our First Amendment, freedom of speech, to demonstrate, to express ourselves, that does not make us terrorists. That does not mean that people need to be shot and killed like Renee Nicole just for being there. Please, folks, don't let this die. We've got to push hard, like our ranking member has said, to make sure we have full investigation, full accountability. These are our taxpayer dollars. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce my colleagues, Mr. Fanadere.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. I also want to thank our leader, ranking member Thompson, for his leadership, and all of my colleagues here who are actively speaking out against what's happening in America. Just a few weeks ago, I introduced a bill in the U.S. Congress eliminating qualified immunity for ICE agents. When ICE agents murder American citizens in our cities, they must face consequences. They must be brought to justice, and they cannot hide behind, as the Vice President J.D. Vance suggested, hiding behind this immunity. So my bill would ask that the qualified immunity be removed for these murderers. In our cities all across America, ICE is working beyond control under the leadership of Kristi Noem. My second ask, and I'm just proud to have co-sponsored a resolution to impeach Secretary Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem has lied to my Homeland Security Committee. She has misused taxpayer funds and now leading an agency, leading ICE, that is committing crimes across America. Kristi Noem must be impeached. She must face the consequences of this. And we must, finally, we must reform ICE. But it looks at this stage, folks, ICE is beyond reform. ICE is totally out of control. And this week, I intend to introduce a bill to abolish ICE. We need to make ICE go away. 2003, before 2003, without ICE, various federal agencies were able to take care of business, and we can do this without ICE. But we do not need the murderers. We do not need these paramilitary organizations, members on our street terrorizing U.S. citizens, terrorizing moms, terrorizing our children. You know, to summarize, I ask Kristi Noem be impeached. I ask that ICE be abolished, and I certainly ask that the qualified immunity for ICE end right now. Thank you all. I would ask my colleague Delia Ramirez to come and address the press.
Thank you, Congressman. Well, good afternoon. It's a cloudy day. It's 1 week from the horrifying murder that we all saw on video happen in Minnesota. And it is cloudy because we know that we're weeping at what we are seeing happen around the country. You see, for the last year, as Americans watch the violence and indignity on their phones and televisions, they have come to understand what so many of us already know. DHS, as it's operating, is now a threat to every one of us. But I want to be clear.
Hey, you're back.
And I'll tell you why. Because from its establishment, the Department of Homeland Security and ICE has been empowered through a lack of oversight and too much latitude to violate our rights under the pretense of securing our safety. Now, do you feel safe right now? Do you believe that DHS operates with due process? Do you think that they are abiding by the law? Cursing out U.S. citizens, do you think they have respect for the American people? And what you saw...
Okay, so obviously, they're going after Ms. Noem. That's the first domino to this takedown for this Trump regime. So, yeah. So that's what's going to happen. We're going to stay on top of this. We're back tomorrow with a really good show. Really good show tomorrow. So stay tuned. Don't forget to see us on YouTube. Give it a subscribe, a like, share the video. This is also streaming over there at add.my.name. That's add. It's down here on the ticket. You know, you can go still over there. And TikTok, YouTube,